and then to have the company say you got to switch to the Goodfather, which is what's that like?
That ground says it all.
First of all, Vince was so behind the Godfather. Vince used to walk down the aisle and say, "Pimpin' ain't easy, pimpin' ain't easy." I'm like, Vince, like know because you're the biggest pimp there is. But it got to the point where society was changing, and they were doing away with the suck it, the puppies, and me. Right. And it's just sad because, I mean, it was just so cool.
We're keeping 100, man. As a kid, you know what I mean? You know, as a young kid being 8, you wild perverted, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? Attitude Era was fucked up for me when that left, man.
Right.
That's kind of when I started drifting off. Like,
crazy.
Did you know what a hoe was?
For sure. I'm from Queens.
I did.
I'm
so
going
back 20 years. I don't know.
No, I'm from Queens. Listen, and my mom and dad, 2 transparent people, did drugs, told me about the whole process. Used to go to meetings. So I knew everything.
Brother said, I went to meetings.
I went to meetings. I'm in there feeling like I had a problem. So, yeah, I knew about everything. So when I'm watching that, Jerry Lawler talking about the puppies, Jacqueline, Sable, you with the whole train. Stone Cold with his persona. Like, I feel like the Attitude Era worked so much because that was just the time of life. It was like a rebellious stage of life. Like, in your opinion, because I'm a child, so even though I'm saying I know about these things, you're actually living it. Like, what was the wrestling business and what was just the world like back at that time during the Attitude Era?
It was so cool because it became to the point where Vince is like, you be you. And I'm not going to restrict you. I'm not going to hold you back. So Godfather, be Godfather. DX, be Godfather. You know what the thing is people forget about Val Venus.
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
Val Venus was the nastiest son of a gun out there.
Hello,
Val
ladies.
Venus used to say a lot worse stuff than what I said.
Yeah, shout out to Val.
Shout out to Val Venus.
Do y'all remember that me and Val were in a tag team?
No.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember?
I don't remember that.
Me and Val were in a tag team.
I remember the feud.
When I was, no, this is besides that.
Yeah.
Before that. This is when Val was Val, I was the Godfather. And we were a tag team for a minute, and we were called Supply and Demand.
Ooh,
fire!
I believe you guys. Anyway, a lot of people remember that.
That's kind of fire.
And then Val would come out and do his porno stuff, and then I'd come out there with the girls and do my stuff. And it was just so cool.
But see what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that right there in itself, just because that gets over so much in the Attitude Era,
that would sell.
Y'all needed the belts. It should have at least been a tag team run.
That would have deserved a tag team championship run. That in itself, because both personalities, both personas work so well. It sells on TV at that time. It's raunchy. I don't see why it wouldn't go over. Like,
the problem is
talk to us.
I'm just speaking as myself.
Talk to us.
And the thing is I wasn't a wrestling fan. You can't forget how old I am. I'm 61 years old.
Yeah.
No matter that I look young and I act young, I'm still 61 years old. Right. And when I grew up in the Bay Area of California, Northern California,
shouts to the Bay.
roller derby was much bigger than wrestling. Mm-hmm. And we used to go to roller derby, not wrestling. So I was never a wrestling fan. I knew Rocky Johnson because he was black. I knew Jesse the Body because he was cool. Right. Mm-hmm. And I knew Haystack Calhouns because he was from San Francisco.
Fire.
But I wasn't a wrestling fan. I was a roller derby fan. So, I mean, just, it is what it is.
My question when you say, DX was allowing you to be who, Vince was allowing DX to be who they wanted to be. They was allowing you to be want to be. Do you feel like that played a part because of the Monday Night Wars?
Of course.
And now my next question is, right, we all know, you were supposed to take a role that was taken by Virgil instead, that you actually said, you know what? I'm happy I didn't take this role because how they were playing Virgil, I wouldn't want to be that. But let me just ask you, because you keep it so 100.
Virgil's a good dude.
Yeah, shout out to Virgil, great dude.
Guy.
If you had a choice back then, because I always wanted to know this, right? And I'm going to give my answer after. Which faction would you have ideally wanted to be with? NWO or D-Generation X?
Good question.
Third choice.
Ooh.
Nation of Domination.
Come on. Hello. Hello.
Okay.
Nation of Domination.
Me just seeing the Godfather bring out hoes for Shawn Michaels when he was, because Shawn Michaels is a changed man now. You know what I mean? But that's Shawn Michaels.
When you see me go, I don't want to answer.
One of those.
Okay. But just as a fan, I don't know the behind the scenes. Just watching it, they doing Suck It, Road Dogg with his promo.
He was
you know what I mean? Yeah.
And I smoked with all these dudes.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So
All
Road Dogg being able to say, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, we present to you the Godfather, and you come out the whole. I'm just.
That'd have been perfect.
I mean?
That'd have been crazy.
Seemed like epic. But I like your answer for which, because that's the group you was in. What was your time like with the Nation? Let's get into that.
Best time, man. Best time. When I was in the Nation, I joined, and here's the thing: people didn't know that when I joined the Nation, when I showed up to TV, they said I took some pictures, and I was supposed to be Papa Shango.
Come on,
for the Nation. A lot of people don't know this. I was supposed to be Papa Shango, so I lost weight. I'm like 290 right now. I'm down to 260. I look good, and they want to do a Papa Shango run, and I was cool. When I get there, I take some Jerry the King Lawler, who I had my first match against ever. He painted up my face, and that if you go on Instagram, you can find him, and Facebook and all that bullshit. But Jerry did the face. We took some pictures, and then they said Vince wants to talk to you, and I'm like, cool. I want to talk to Vince. I know that motherfucker.
Right.
Right. So I go in there, and this is exactly what happened. Vince goes, Charles, change of plans. I'm like, change of plans? He goes, yes. He goes, we're going to put you in the Nation of Domination. You and Farouk are going to wrestle The Undertaker in a handicap match, and you are going to go over, which means I'm going to win.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. You know what I said to Vince? I said, Vince, am I going to make the same amount of money? And Vince says, just Charles and more. I'm like, well, then I'm cool.
Right.
And so they put me in the Nation of Domination.
Right.
If you want to hear a story, you got to stop me because I'll talk forever.
Nah, tell us.
If you want to hear a story, I asked. That's the first time I met Ron Simmons, who I love him to death. He is a mentor to me. I'm 61 years old. I think Ron's 64 years old, but I look at him too as a authority figure, because he's been around and he's wrestled in the South and shit that I didn't do.
First African American WCW heavyweight
and dealt
champion.
with racism. Ron dealt with racism like I couldn't deal with. Motherfucker called me an N-word. I'm punching in your motherfucking mouth. Not that Ron didn't. But I was supposed to go to the in the NWO. I don't know if you're going to get into that. But I didn't go because Ron told me, you ain't going to get along with them motherfuckers. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, they use that N-word like it ain't nothing. I'm like, you motherfucker call me that N-word, I'm going to kick your ass. He goes, well, you're going to be fighting every day. And I'm like, you know what, then I'm going to leave that alone.
Was it true that originally with returning as Papa Shango, I had read somewhere that I remember Bob Backlund kind of had a gimmick where he was like going crazy. Was it true Papa Shango was originally supposed to be the reason Bob Backlund was losing his mind?
First of all, the worst matches that I've ever had in my life as Papa Shango were against him, Bob Backlund. Yes. And I like Bobby. He's cool. But I couldn't gel with him. Maybe I wasn't as good as my gimmick as he was, but I couldn't wrestle him because it just didn't make no sense.
Right.
And then, yes, we were supposed to come back and work some program, but they put me in the Nation.